I love it when we get the chance as actors to do things that we wouldn't necessarily be cast in initially, that doesn't correlate to our persona, so to speak. And that's what acting is, you know. It's transforming and changing and trying to find a truth within yourself to play somebody that would seem to be polar opposite to who you are. But actually, you know, that's the thing that actually keeps me, I suppose, a part of the world, is knowing that all of us have elements of these characters in us, and being given the chance to, that was just what was so lovely, is that Lee took a chance and said, yeah, I believe you can do it, because most directors wouldn't believe I could do something like this. I mean, I've worked with, on lots of low-budget films, and I've worked with lots of really talented directors, and so I'm used to an unusual vibe and an unusual way of working, and Lee's unusual, you know. He has to feel everything, and our first day was so kind of like just wild, and I love that, you know. That's, for me, that's being an actor, and I love the feeling of, it's kind of like rebel filmmaking, if that makes sense. You know, on the fly, grabbing what you can grab, and there's an abandonment to that. And that's what I think Lee is very abandoned and very raw.
I was looking to work with Lee Daniels as a fan of Precious. And although I didn't know what this script, what it really was, it excited me. And the role, there was a daring thing about the role, almost, that I felt like I wasn't quite sure what I was getting into. There's a shock value to the role that I've never really done anything with this much shock value as the role of Ward. And it just kind of, that's what turned me on about it. He's always constantly looking for something different. Not only from, like, me as an actor, as in he's always saying, I want to see you do things I haven't seen you do before. But in a scene, he's always saying, okay, that's a perfect way to play it. Understand that. That's a realistic and practical, pragmatic way to play the situation. Now let's just flip it on its head and say, you know, what happens if we backed into the scene walking on our hands, so to speak. I mean, there's some great characters that were written in the script, very specific characters. There's no two characters that are really even close to being on the same frequency, which allowed for each actor to really create some great characters through themselves. And then when you got us all in a room, everybody's got a different frequency. Everybody's got a different point of view. Paperboy's really, Zac Efron's story. If it's going to be one person's story, the Paperboy, that would be his character, who goes through more of a so-called arc and comes out the other end. A lot of that is based on his and mine as his older brother's relationship, what he learns from me, how he comes out the other side, the man he becomes. It's shown a lot through his infatuation, lust, and love story with Charlotte character played by Nicole Kidman.
Lee is sort of a genius when it comes to understanding, you know, what makes us human, you know, what makes us real people, what makes us tick, and he's great at figuring out relationships. You know, there's so much of even just a conversation that happens with Lee is not in what you say, you know, it's what happens in the spaces in between, and his understanding of that, I think, is what makes him such a powerful director. And he's just, at the same time, he's not afraid to turn everything on its ear, you know? You come into scenes and it doesn't read right, he's not afraid to just go, I don't like it, improvise it, go. What he wanted to bring to the Ward and Jack relationship was not, I think it was a little bit complicated, even in the script, you know, the way it is now. It sort of reads the way, like, you know, long lost brothers come together for a happy reunion, and we, take the world by storm. And that's how it could be perceived to be, with hugging and high fives and he's my bro kind of stuff, And Lee was adamant that that's not what their relationship was about. They've been estranged for quite some time now. He sort of helped raise me, but since then he sort of abandoned me, and I don't really know how to treat my brother who's suddenly come back into my life. I think what makes this movie special is that each and every relationship and every part of this story is very real. It goes to the darkest place, and then through that comes to some of the the lightest, happiest places you've ever seen. But everything is grounded in the real crazy way that things are. This is very much a coming of age story, a real coming of age story. And Jack is learning from each of these very important people in his life a new lesson, and that's how I felt coming into this. I sort of came in a blank slate. I've only done a few things. I'm still learning what it means to make a movie and to be an actor, and this cast was challenging me on all different sides and in different ways. The first time I read Paperboy, my initial reaction was, wow. It was intense, especially the way this movie ends. It sort of it blew me away. This was like a big journey for a young man, and it was full of all these twists and turns, and goes to some very dark, twisted places and very funny places. But at the end of the day, I couldn't even fully comprehend what was going on, what the story was even about. So it was shocking. It was pretty shocking.